I've described the book I've written, Rest in Peace, as a planning guide for the end of life. And I'm sure that readers would be very interested in knowing, well, what's in this for me? If I bought your book, what am I going to learn? And I can tell you up front that I think you're going to learn a lot that you don't know. A lot about what's going to happen when a loved one dies and you're the survivor who has to take care of the personal affairs. What Rest in Peace does is take you through two particular scenarios. The first is what I like to call putting your plans in order, getting your affairs in order. Talking about insurance, about preparing a will, the need to prepare a will, talking about durable and medical powers of attorney, of do-not-resuscitate orders, of the kinds of documentation that you really should have in preparing for the end of life. Now, I know a lot of people out there have wills, but there are some who don't. And if you don't have a will and you die without a will, the state or the government is going to determine what happens with your affairs. So the will is a key document that you should have and understand to be able to say, from the grave essentially, here's what I want done with my possessions. Another important part of this is information that the survivor of a spouse, let's say, who dies, for example, is going to need for making the arrangements for the funeral or cremation. Funerals are expensive, and you're going to pay an undertaker a fair amount of money if you have a funeral. Now, one way to take care of that is to buy a pre-death plan for burial and a funeral, and to have that ready to go so your spouse, your family doesn't have to pay for that after you're gone. There are certainly advantages to doing that. But what's important, I think, is for the family to know what you would like done. Would you like to be cremated? Would you like to be buried in a particular cemetery plot? If you're a veteran, do you want to go into a national cemetery? What would you like in the way of a coffin, for example? You can specify what you'd like for music at your funeral, obviously what goes into your obituary or a eulogy. You can specify who the pallbearers are. By pre-arranging your affairs, you take a great burden off your family so that they don't have to guess what you would like to have done with your remains after you're gone. And by the will being established, notarized, you can specify what happens to all your possessions after you're gone. That's one of the advantages of reading the book. We talk about hospice care in this book. And hospice care may be something that readers of my book would have to confront somewhere down the road. Hospice care is a person who is terminal, going to die, within the next 6 months. And it is a kind of care that's very important. So knowing what to expect in hospice care can be found in our book. That's another one of the advantages of reading it.